Hey there, I'm Kara and I talk to wine. And today is all about winter. We're in the thick of it. It is January and it's time to talk about the best wine for this season. Hands down, without question, my answer is Shiraz, or otherwise known as Syrah. It's the same grape, but Shiraz is grown and made in Australia. So that is really the wine that stands out to me the most as that warming, perfect winter wine. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why. Unfortunately, I'm coming to you from a very warm and sunny Florida. I guess not unfortunately, but if you're in the cold, wintry, snow-laden other parts of the country, this will mean even more to you. This wine will help you out even more as you battle through winter. But anyway, what is this wine and why is it winter worthy? This is actually called Rabbit and Spaghetti. Love the name. I'll talk a little bit about why it's called that at the end. And it is a 2018 Shiraz. So now, we're coming from South Australia, and that just means we're in this area of vineyards, different regions, geographical indications, as they're called, in an area around Adelaide. So if you know where Adelaide is, kind of in the geography of Australia, that's where we are. This is actually an Adelaide super zone combination of vineyards. So they're taking a whole bunch of Shiraz from a lot of different vineyards in areas of Barossa, Fleury, and also an area called Mount Lofty. And that just is going to give us this really house style of Shiraz that we can enjoy. So now, that's what we're working with. Why is it important to really look at a wine? Because we're going to get to understand and know the wine by doing these next steps. We're going to look, smell, and taste and really get that affinity for this wine. So visually, super deep. You can tell it's very deep purple. Can't even see my fingers through it. Nice kind of stained, slow moving, heavy tears. Lots going on there. Let's smell. Ooh. Oh, love the smell of Shiraz. It's just, it literally kind of gives you a bit of a warming feeling, even just smelling it, which is great. So lots of deep, dried, kind of jammy fruits, blueberry, blackberry, even a little bit of this kind of plum quality. So nice and flavor or aromatically driven on the nose with the fruits. And then we get into some really cool non-fruit aromas. So lots of spice, dark chocolate, there's a cocoa powder, there's lots of these baking spices. And then what I love about Shiraz, and hopefully you'll love it too, it has this mixture of the savory and a little bit sweet. So it's almost like maple bacon. And I know you think I'm crazy, but when you stick your nose in a Shiraz next and you smell it, you're gonna say, oh my gosh, I love it. So I love that about this wine. And then they are using some new oak to age, which gives us this vanilla, a lot of toasty depth and generosity to the nose as well. Let's give it a sip. Whew, that's warming. So the first thing you notice is a really nice burn down the back of the throat, which just tells us we're dealing with a nice higher alcohol wine. That's always good for winter. And then big standouts here, generous, plush, almost like velvet as you drink it. Flavors are the same as the nose, that beautiful dried, kind of jammy, generous black and blue fruit, lots of baking spice, and some of that, I tell you, it's maple bacon. I love it. And finally, it just has that overall, you know, the tannins, which are those phenolic kind of bitter components you can find in reds, are extremely supple. They're not overwhelming. So it's easy to drink, which is kind of good too. And last but not least, you know, if you are on the sofa by the fire, what do you pair with this wine? What are you going to bring into the equation? Stews. Any stew is fantastic with this wine. You can do some barbecue. Anything glazed would be lovely as well. So think about your stews, your glazes, your roasts. Don't be afraid to throw a lot of richness at this wine because it will take it in stride. Anyway, a little bit about the name. So this is called Rabbit and Spaghetti. This is fun. I just love a fun story. So in Australia during World War II, they had a lot of prisoners coming from different countries around the world, and they would find themselves in kind of Australia. So they would get a lot of prisoners of war, and a lot of the prisoners, a lot of them were actually Italian, so they would work on vineyards in South Australia because all the other men were away at war, and the owners of the vineyards would actually, they would have the quote-unquote prisoners to dinner, and their classic meal would be rabbit and spaghetti. Love a good story, no? Makes wine taste even better to me. And another good story is a book called If Wine Could Talk. I wrote it. So I do implore you, go check out If Wine Could Talk. You can find it on Amazon, a lot of other local bookstores around the country, and I hope you give it a read. So, have Shiraz by the fire. It's more of a couch sipper, less of a porch pounder of the summer. And enjoy yourself. I'll see you next time. Cheers.